And we're back on BuildPhase TV. Today I'm doing a little bit different type of a video. As some of my regular audience may or may not be aware, in addition to playing Versus and other competitive card games, I'm also kind of a board game obsessive. And in today's show, I want to share a small improvement I made to the board game Dice Throne. So Dice Throne, for people who aren't familiar, is a one versus one, primarily a one versus one game where you play with character archetypes like Shadow Thief, Barbarian, Treant, Ninja, but you also have a Gunslinger. And in the game, the Gunslinger has the ability to put bounties onto other players, or in the case of Dice Throne Adventures, onto minions. These bounty tokens are kind of generic. I mean, they're fine. A lot of the status tokens in Dice Throne are really well done. In general, I highly recommend the game. However, we were talking about ways that we could potentially improve our Dice Throne experience, and something that came up with was a bounty book. So this is the alpha, maybe I hesitate to even call it a beta. This is the alpha draft of my bounty cards for Dice Throne. So all the cards have the same card back. Now in this construction is a slightly trimmed card with two pieces of paper, and there's definitely some deficiencies in the art, and the sizing isn't quite where I wanted it to be. So once we get to the point where everything's on point, I do want to eventually make these out of legitimate cardboard, but I was so excited about them that I kind of wanted to show them off. So anytime you have a bounty on a character, there's one here for every single one of the season 1 and season 2 Dice Throne heroes. And for people who are unfamiliar or need lots of reminder text, we also have that here, where I kind of leaned into the Old West vibe. I read more than several different actual real world bounty posters to kind of get a feel both for the language I used for the civil authority for the keeping of the peace, but also for how I phrase the bonus. Now, the in-game bonus that a bounty gives you is when you attack that character, you get +1 attack and +1 CP. The kind of flavor phrasing of brave citizens who engage in pursuit of this scoundrel or whoever, that was just me with a flair for the dramatic. So obviously, if you have a bounty on a moon elf, whether it's this or this or this, it's all still just a bounty. Like, this doesn't change anything fundamentally about the game. It doesn't change any of the rules of the game. It's just kind of a fun, sort of flavorful way to play your Dice Throne game and have a little bit more of an exciting, well, to repeat myself, flavorful way to be your gunslinger. Now here's one of the cards where, so each of these cards came off the Roxley website, and where's the one that I screwed up? And here on the Samurai, you can kind of see how I didn't get the web element from the web page off of it. There were a few characters that the art was wide enough that the scrolling function on the Roxley website got in the way. So here's one you can see. I tried to fix where it was, but I didn't quite get the color right, and it really stands out. So some of these, like the Tactician, on the Moon Elf, her bowstring didn't copy, so I had to hand draw the bowstring for her. So these are all very rough. This is very much an alpha version of this. I will link to these bounties on my Google Drive in the description of the video. But if you're looking to upgrade your Dice Throne experience and the Gunslinger is your character, this could be a fun way to do it. Now, of course, doing these as an actual card, as opposed to this kind of sheets of paper sandwiched around a piece of cardboard, there's better ways to do this. Another thing we talked about was taking the actual card and then damaging the sides of it so that they look kind of burnt and torn up, as wanted posters are wont to do. We don't need this one, because even if you put a bounty out for me, I'm going to be hidden in the shadows and you can't get me. You can kind of see where I messed up on the trimming there. So there's still... Now this one had the dot, but I actually did a really good job of cleaning it up. So, but this was a fun little project. My brother kind of came up with the idea behind it, and then I just ran with it over the course of the last week or so. And now we have this cool, upgraded version of the Dice Throne bounties. I do intend to eventually make 4 more, one for each of the bosses in Dice Throne Adventures, and then probably another 4 beyond that, where it'll be one for each difficulty level of minion in Dice Throne Adventures. So probably the whole book will ultimately end up being another 8 bounties, and then of course when season 3 comes out, I'll have to take another crack at this. So hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, go win some games.